Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Dais, a podcast about the stories taking place in and around El Paso County, Colorado. I'm your host, Scott Anderson, and I am here today at the Bear Creek Nature Center with our guest, Mary Jo Lewis, who is the supervisor here at the Bear Creek Nature Center. How are you doing today, Mary Jo?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Scott?
Doing great. I am really happy to be here. It is really cool to see just how green everything is. After all this rain we've been getting over the past, it feels like the last 6 months, but it's probably been the last month or so. Everything is so green. So coming out here to the Nature Center is really fun to be able to see that. So thank you for having me.
Of course.
But before we get into things, I wanted to quickly add that if listeners are interested in more stories about people doing good in and around El Paso County, or hearing from county leadership about local government priorities and how they operate, you can find additional episodes of this podcast on your podcast platform of choice. But to get started here, Mary Jo, I was wondering if you could start off by giving a bit of your background prior to the role that you are currently in.
Sure. So prior to moving to Colorado 7 years ago, I was at a nature center in Pennsylvania called Peace Valley Nature Center. I was there for 8 years and worked my way up from the volunteer coordinator to the assistant education director and then director of environmental education. And that is really where I found my heart for this field. So I was very fortunate to have that time there. During that time, I also went back to school and got a teaching certification in elementary education. And all of those experiences led me to where I am now.
Oh, that's great. What was it about the concept of teaching and working at a nature center that really paired well for you?
I just personally feel like it is the best way to learn and the best way to teach. Nature is just the best teacher. One of the things that's such a beautiful thing in this field is that you often see a field trip might come and students that struggle in a classroom setting where they're asked to sit still in a chair for 7 hours, they thrive here.
Yeah.
It brings everybody to life, and it's just a natural way of connection that I am so thrilled to be able to foster.
I can't blame him. I have a hard time sitting still in a chair for 7 hours.
I.
My gosh. So what are some of the primary responsibilities you have here at the Nature Center?
So we do a wealth of public programming here. And so overseeing a lot of that, also having the great opportunity to create a lot of the programming that we do here. We're actually in our first week of nature camp, first of 5. So that's our big focus this summer. We do a lot of field trip programming, primarily for elementary and middle school students. This morning, you just saw the tail end of a preschool age program that we do monthly. They're wildly popular. And then I know we'll talk more about this later, but our trailability program is one of the really exciting things that we're in our second year of offering to the community. And we have a great group of volunteers that help us carry out all of our education and our public interfacing here at the Nature Center. So being a part of all of that, and many more hats. Literally, we just got a new queen a couple weeks ago in our observation hive, and I was in a bee suit. And we always joke we wear many hats. We literally wear many hats here.
Well, better you than me. I've got a propensity to stay away from bees, but no, that's really cool. And you mentioned that you have some volunteers that work here. If there are people who are like, oh, that sounds interesting, how can people volunteer to be a part of the work that's done here?
Yes, so they can find information on our website, El Paso County Nature Centers.com.
Okay.
There's more volunteer information, and they can contact us. We will get in touch with them, and they can help us in a variety of ways. Our volunteers are our reception desk folks that greet visitors, answer their questions. They help us lead our education programs, help us with our special events, and then the newest volunteer opportunity that we have is assisting with our trailability program and going out on the trail with folks in the terrain hopper vehicles. We always need more volunteers and just love to add to that community.
Awesome. So speaking more generally about the Parks Department here at El Paso County, what do you enjoy about being a part of that department and a part of that team?
So first and foremost, the people. Really, this Parks and Community Services Department is so supportive as a whole. And then the teams at the nature centers are just amazing people to work with. And that just makes it a joy to come to work. Also, just the the wealth of resources that our Parks Department has to offer is amazing, and the diversity. I lead a lot of programs here at Bear Creek, which is where I'm situated, but I love leading programs in other county parks and open spaces too. Santa Fe Open Space, the Paint Mines, Fox Run, we do quite a bit of programming up there. And to have the opportunity to connect people just more fully to those spaces and resources is really awesome and makes it ever changing and interesting for me. And in addition to that, I'm just really proud of the direction that our Parks Department has been going with increasing accessibility to folks in the realm of recreation and open spaces and trails. It's really exciting to be a part of that.
So you mentioned briefly the Fox Run Regional Park up there. I know that the county is in the process of creating a nature center. Can you talk to me a little bit about what that process looks like and maybe when the expected time frame is to have that nature center ready?
Yeah, it's a very exciting process and very exciting to be a part of it. So right now, we actually just had a public input meeting a couple weeks ago up in the Black Forest area. And so we're getting public input. The design team is working on conceptual designs right now. Nothing has been set in stone yet. And actually, right here at Bear Creek Nature Center, I don't know if you noticed when you walked in, we're gaining public input here with just asking people what they would like to see in a new nature center. And the estimated timeline is groundbreaking 2024 with a nature center to open to the public in 2025. So fingers crossed that that will happen in that timeline. Sometimes these things shift, but either way, it's really exciting that we'll have a third county nature center in that part of the county where the population is growing just exponentially, and folks have to travel down to Bear Creek and Fountain Creek for programs and camps, which they do frequently, but it would be so great to be able to interpret that specific resource for them in their own backyards.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And as you mentioned here at Bear Creek Nature Center, you have a little setup where you've got some concept images of kind of what the idea is. And then, like you said, a really like a good list of, you know, what do you want in your nature center? And some of the listed items on there is like, oh my gosh, like that would be really cool. And, you know, you can see, you know, how many people have like said, yeah, that's what we want. And so it's really interesting and fun to see that the community is a part of creating this thing that they're going to be a part of. And, you know, when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that actually makes sense, right?
Yes. And we always tell people here at Bear Creek, you know, when they visit, or especially school field trips, like, this nature center is yours. You are a county citizen. This belongs to you. We are here because of you. So it would only make sense that, you know, that public input would be part of the process of creating the new center. Yeah.
And so already you've mentioned the trailability program a couple of times. It's hard to get to roll off the tongue. Why is that program so important here at Bear Creek Nature Center, and why is it important for the community as a whole?
So prior to 2022, there was no program in the Pikes Peak region that was established to give trail access to folks with disabilities. So it's the first program of its kind in this Pikes Peak region. And we have 2 terrain hopper vehicles, one at Bear Creek, one at Fountain Creek Nature Center. They are free, which is very important to us to keep it that way. We all go out on the trails and hike for free. Why would we not want it to be the same for folks using these vehicles? And it gives access to our beautiful trails here at Bear Creek and Fountain Creek Nature Center to those that otherwise would not have that access. I just think that's so worthwhile. We know like what a gem this area is, and a lot of us live here because of the access to recreation and trails and open spaces. So to be able to open that access to a broader community, I think is just so worthwhile. And what we're seeing is other entities in this area are starting to establish similar programs. The city of Colorado Springs I believe they already have some track chairs, and they're working on getting a program in place. And I believe Cheyenne Mountain State Park is also looking into this. So just to increase this accessibility to this beautiful area we live in is great. And we're very proud to say that we were the first in the region.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely, like, not that you do it to have that feather in your cap, of course. It's more about doing it because it's the right thing, but certainly something to really feel proud of, having that sort of that thing that other people want to follow in your footsteps, right? And so was there a lot of transformation that had to happen to allow that program to exist, or was the infrastructure already sort of in place to make that possible?
So the program that we currently have, the infrastructure was there, other than getting the vehicles, training volunteers, and training ourselves in not just the mechanics of the vehicle, but just sensitivity and approaches in working with the disabled population. The Independence Center has been an amazing partner in this whole process. Financially, they funded one of the terrain hopper vehicles, and then they've had ongoing support. They did a training for our staff and our volunteers earlier this year in sensitivity. So there's been a lot of learning that's come with it. That being said, we have this beautiful regional trail here at Bear Creek, and then the trails at Fountain Creek also lend themselves very well to using this vehicle. Our regional trail is fairly flat, wide, so it can accommodate the vehicle as well as other hikers passing by. So we're very fortunate that we had this footprint there. I can't stop thinking about how perfect Fox Run will be and those trails. So I'm hoping, we have a green terrain hopper at Bear Creek, a blue one at Fountain Creek, and I'm already visualizing an orange one up at Fox Run out on the trails, giving folks access to those trails also.
Yeah, and that's really great that you can already have that sort of in mind before you build it out. So you know how to create it to allow that access. That's really cool. And in speaking about accessibility and what's being done here at Bear Creek Nature Center, there's a new VIP trail that's about to open up. Can you tell me what VIP means? What is this trail and why is it such a big deal for you guys?
Yes, so this is our newest endeavor in increasing accessibility on our trails and for our interpretation that we do here also. So the VIP trail it's technically open to the public now, but we will have our ribbon cutting next week, and VIP stands for Visually Impaired Persons Trail. So this utilizes a trail that was already in place here at Bear Creek. It's called our Songbird Trail, and it just lent itself beautifully to this project. So it's a boardwalk, it's flat, it's wide, and it has interpretive signs along the way that interpret flora and fauna that you would find out there. So it was just an easy extension to, our park ops department did an amazing job putting rope in along the trail for guidance. And then we worked with one of our volunteers from the Nature Center who is legally blind, and she was just a great resource in how to approach this. And what she suggested were audio devices. The ones that we got are called Pen Friends. So folks can come to the Nature Center and use those for free. And as they travel along and use the rope to guide them along the trail, then they use the Pen Friends at the interpretive signage, which will read the audio of the signs aloud to them.
Oh, wow.
And we also have included some of our indoor exhibits to utilize the Pen Friends with as well. So just trying to make sure that the interpretation that we're doing is accessible for as many audiences as possible.
And have you already had people use that trail then?
So far, we have had 2 groups that have visited us from Colorado School for the Deaf and Blind.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was wonderful. We're so grateful for them. So 2 groups of students came out with their teachers, and they basically tested it for us and gave us input. And the input's really valuable. We'll be making some updates already. We haven't even really started the program yet, and we're ready to make some updates and improvements. Hopefully by the end of this year, just to make it accessible in little things that we hadn't even thought of. So it was so valuable to have their experience and their suggestions for that. So they're the folks that have used the trail so far, and we're hoping that now the word will get out and more people will take advantage of this resource.
Yeah, absolutely. So based off of that, and then also what you've seen from the Trail Ability Program, What sort of feedback are you guys getting, and what sort of experiences are you seeing from those who are able to take advantage of these new trails?
Yeah, the Trailability program has been so well received by those using it. We always gather information afterwards and ask for their input. That has not only helped us improve the program in little ways, things we might not have thought of, just an umbrella holder for sunshade, or a cover on the seat because it gets really hot and it was burning people's legs. So we've made slight adjustments and tweaks, but also reading those evaluations after the fact has really hit home for us how impactful this program is for folks. One of the comments that really always kind of sums up the whole program for me last year, basically it was somebody speaking about getting to the top of a hill, and then they summed it up with, "I felt empowered." And for us, that is just everything. That is exactly what we're going for, is to empower people, give them access to beautiful places, and empower them to do it independently.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I love hearing about things like that. So you mentioned a little bit earlier that you're in your first week of summer programs here. We're recording, it's June 14th. This will be coming out, I believe, next week, which will be at June 21st or so. So we'll be in your first couple weeks of the summer programs. But what other things are you doing here at Bear Creek Natures this summer that the residents will be able to come and take advantage of?
Sure. I'll mention a couple. I would also strongly advise them to go on the website, because we do so many public programs and events, things specific for certain ages, things for all ages.
Okay.
You mentioned when you first started how green it is here, and it really is. And it is an amazing wildflower season already. It's just the best wildflower season I've ever seen here. So one of the things that people can do to get a closer look at some of those flowers is we are doing a wildflower walk here on July 29th, and that's in partnership with the CSU Extension.
Okay.
So that's a great opportunity for folks to get out here and see how beautiful it is right now. On August 18th, we have our annual Happy Trails Barbecue fundraiser. That's our big fundraiser of the year for Friends of El Paso County Nature Centers. And it's just a wonderful evening, an upscale barbecue, live music, dinner, and drinks in the beautiful setting of Bear Creek Nature Center. And all of the funds raised at that event this year will go towards the Fox Run Nature Center.
Oh, very good.
Very exciting, yes. And those are two of the things going on. But again, we just do a wealth of programming. So I would direct people to check out our website, elpasocountynaturecenters.com, to see everything that's going on.
Very good. And then before we close here, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to let us know if there's anything else you want to add. Is there maybe something we didn't talk about yet that's important for them to know, or something you want to reiterate, really kind of drive a point home? Something
that I always like to make sure I mention is that we are free. We do a lot of programs, and we often charge a minimal fee that supports our nonprofit, Friends of El Paso County Nature Centers. But the center itself is free to visit. We are open to the public. The center itself is worth spending a couple hours exploring, and then just a beautiful network of trails. It's a beautiful thing to see. Families will come in here on a Saturday, and they might spend the whole day. They're in here, then they go out and hike, then maybe they go on the patio and eat lunch, and they don't spend a cent. And I just think that's such an amazing resource for our community members. And so I hope that folks come and visit us. It's green, it's beautiful. Bear Creek is flowing right now.
Yeah, I saw that when I was walking in here. That was very cool. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mary Jo. I appreciate you taking the time to be here today, and for all the work that you do here in El Paso County to really bring nature to all the residents here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
If you're interested in listening to additional episodes of Beyond the Dais, you can find us on Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.